Once upon a time, in a bustling African village known for its vibrant culture and traditions, there lived a couple named Abony and Olyamide. Abony was known for her beauty and wit, while Olyamide was a humble and hard-working man who took pride in his role as the breadwinner of the family. They seemed to lead a harmonious life, but behind closed doors their relationship was far from ordinary. Abony had always been ambitious, dreaming of a life beyond the confines of the village. She yearned for wealth and influence, believing that her husband's modest ways held her back. One day, she came across an old woman selling herbs and charms at the market. Intrigued by the mysterious aura surrounding the woman, Abony stopped to chat. The old woman offered Abony a peculiar charm wrapped in a piece of red cloth. "This will grant you control over anyone you desire," she whispered. Abony hesitated but eventually purchased the charm, her mind racing with the possibilities it could unlock. That night, Abony performed the ritual as instructed by the old woman. To her astonishment, Olyamide woke up the next morning entirely transformed. He was not physically different, but his demeanor had shifted. He obeyed Abony's every command without hesitation, as though he had been bewitched into servitude. Over time, she began treating him more like a housemaid than a husband. She assigned him tasks from dawn to dusk, forcing him to scrub the floors, cook elaborate meals, and tend to her whims. First, the villagers were confused by the change in Olyamide's behavior. Some speculated he was merely showing his love in an unusual way, while others whispered about dark forces at play. Abony, on the other hand, reveled in her newfound power. She adorned herself with expensive clothes and jewels, claiming they were gifts from her hard-working husband, though no one believed her. Despite his new role, Olyamide never complained. He worked tirelessly, his once bright eyes now dull with exhaustion. Deep inside, however, he retained a flicker of awareness. He couldn't remember how he had come to be in this state, but he knew something wasn't right. One fateful evening, as Abony prepared to host an elaborate feast to flaunt her wealth, a stranger arrived at their home. Clad in a flowing robe with eyes that seemed to see through the soul, the visitor introduced himself as Baba Odin, a traveling herbalist. Abony welcomed him reluctantly, not wanting any distractions from her grand event. During the feast, Baba Odin observed Abony's behavior and Olyamide's subservience. As the night progressed, he approached Olyamide and whispered, "Do you remember who you are?" Olyamide's eyes widened slightly, but he remained silent. Baba Odin slipped a small pouch into his hand. "At midnight, sprinkle this under your pillow and you will find the answers you seek." That night, Olyamide did as instructed. As he slept, vivid memories of his former self returned. He remembered his strength, his dignity, and the love he once shared with Abony. When he woke, he felt a surge of clarity and determination. The next morning, Olyamide went about his chores as usual, carefully watching Abony's every move. Meanwhile, Baba Odin had not left the village but was gathering information about the charm Abony had used. He discovered it was not just a tool of control but a double-edged sword. If the victim ever broke free of its influence, the user would suffer dire consequences. When Olyamide confronted Abony that evening, she laughed, dismissing his accusations. "You're nothing without me," she sneered. But as the words left her lips, she felt a strange sensation in her chest. Her hands trembled and she staggered backward. Charm's power had begun to reverse. Abony's once commanding presence faded, and she found herself unable to resist Olyamide's voice. "You will undo this," he said firmly, his tone laced with a strength she hadn't heard in months. Powerless, she retrieved the charm and followed Baba Odin's instructions to destroy it. As the charm burned, Abony collapsed in tears, realizing the cost of her ambition. Olyamide, now free, stood tall once more. Though he forgave her, he made it clear that their relationship could never return to what it once was. The villagers, hearing of what had transpired, were shocked. Abony became a cautionary tale, a reminder of the dangers of greed and manipulation. Olyamide, meanwhile, regained his respect in the community, living a life marked by resilience and dignity. Though their paths diverged, the story of Abony and Olyamide remained etched in the village's memory, a tale of love, betrayal, and the unyielding power of the human spirit.